Before I begin, I wanted to talk about what our perspective is, and I'm talking about the Chicana Studies Department at Cal State Northridge, and I think it's important to situate the work that we do in community partnership by recalling some of the conversation that we had this morning, because it could easily be conceived, as I show you the kind of work that the department is engaged in, to be a litany of service learning projects that Chicana Studies is doing. And it isn't. It's important to recognize that as we approach our work, oops, what did I do? As we approach our work, we're looking at it in a couple of ways. One is recognizing that our community is engaged in a day-to-day struggle against racism and racial microaggressions that are impacting the daily lives of the community that we serve or that our students are coming from. That we use the cultural and community knowledge in that community to help our communities negotiate that work, and that we recognize that our history is one of resilience and resistance, and that we would not be a department, the largest intact Chicana Studies department in the nation, with over 25 full-time faculty and 35 part-timers, if it wasn't for the fact that our folks engaged in struggle. And nobody, hopefully, because if they do, they're not admitting it, is a full-time faculty member that doesn't recognize that activist scholarship is what moves us into the community, from the community into the university. So we do this work in the community to decolonize our mind, to challenge racism, to link the struggle against racism to our respective intersectionalities, to create a space for creating the counter-narrative and the counter-hegemonic, I can't even talk today, worldview, to connect to the social conditions and the realities that are impacting our communities, to link our struggles as Chicana activists to the struggles of other communities of color and Native people, to build alliances, and I'm so pleased that my student colleagues and my Chicana Studies faculty were here to talk about how we do our student work, because those are the kinds of alliances that we build. We name the political injustices. We accept the additional responsibility of becoming change agents and working with our students to become change agents. Many of them work with us to remember that we are change agents, and engage in critical projects, and then we memorialize it in our scholarship. So we recognize that our students are informed by racism and daily microaggressions. We work to challenge racism in the real, whether it's fighting against the executive orders, fighting for ethnic studies as a model curriculum. We're promoting the voice and activism and agency. And so I'm going to share just a few of the projects that we're doing as we do that. We do work in environmental justice. When Rudy Cunha and our forebears actually began to create Chicana Studies, they created an interdisciplinary model of Chicana Studies. So we have folks who are engaged in the movement for environmental justice, who have reclaiming recreation centers, who are working on a community action lab, who work with immigrants, community and educational justice, and more. We have an educational justice wing that works on the model curriculum, but we also have a single subject program so that our students can major in Chicano Studies as they become classroom teachers. We have a project where we work with parents in the community. We work with the teachers' unions, and I'm so glad that Craig brought that up this morning. We believe in social justice unionism, and in fact, it was our CFA chapter that voted to send students and faculty to this conference, because we know absolutely what the links are between a social justice unionism and ethnic study. We do cultural work in the community, where we have the largest Day of the Dead or Noche de Ofrenda program in the entire San Fernando Valley. We work with Plaza Cultura y Arte, we do museum exhibits, we work with Luis Rodriguez, who wrote Always Running in Tia Chucha's bookstore. We do mural projects with our students. And then we also work with Revolutionary Scholars. We're hoping to become the next Project Rebound. But Revolutionary Scholars was a name that the formerly incarcerated students on our campus decided to call themselves because they truly are revolutionary scholars.
Yeah.
And, absolutely. And they work on the pillar of services and providing critical services for well-being. I don't have to read the rest of them to you. They're there. And we also work with our students. Our students are our colleagues engaged in the struggle for liberation. We work with our MECHA, students of color, students for quality education, the Chicana Studies graduate program. We have a writing center where we work with our students to work on their writing, the Center for the Study of the People of the Americas, and Knox. And I'll leave you with this. I know I'm going really fast, but I want to engage in discussion. When I got to CSUN, my colleague Rosa and I were sitting in our office one day, and it was like maybe the first day that we actually got to the campus. And there was a knock on our door. And we opened the door, and it happened to be the chair of the Chicana Studies department. We were going to do this anyway, but it was a reaffirmation that we had chosen the right discipline and the right campus to be on. He knocks on our door and he says, "The two of you are going to be out there today, right? The students are engaged in a demonstration against this administration. And you need to know that as Chicana Studies faculty, it's not just your responsibility to teach, it's your responsibility to have the backs of the students." When he shut the door, she and I looked at each other and we said, we are in the right place, at the right time, on the right campus, in the right department. When our department chooses to do these critical projects, it's not because we're engaged in service learning. It's because we are all committed and engaged in changing the society that has oppressed our community.